Is it time that your child is starting to handwrite? Well, I got 5 tips that I want to share with you that are going to help you encourage handwriting at home and also alleviate some stress for you, and it'll be easy and fun for your child to follow along with. So stick around. My name is Rena Etienne, Montessori teacher, here to help you grow in your parenting and homeschool journey. Okay, so tip number 1 is you want to make yourself available when it's time to do these handwriting activities so you can keep an eye out on your child and help them practice writing in the correct direction each and every time. So that way it just sticks in the brain a lot quicker. It's important that you look out for your child's age and also if your child is even showing interest at the moment. You don't want to force your child to start handwriting because it will be a very stressful journey because you are forcing your child to do something that they are either not interested in doing at the time or they may not be ready for. Let's say you have a 2-year-old at home. Handwriting activities are not necessarily appropriate for a 2-year-old per se. It depends again on the activity. You can do sensorial things with them rather than a paper and a pencil. Now, if you have a 4-year-old at home, then that is a more appropriate age to sit with them. By the time a child reaches around 4 and 5 years old is the time that you want to start encouraging the handwriting because those are activities that they would be doing in a preschool setting anyway. So going on to tip number 2, hand positioning. So when you are going to sit with your child to start these handwriting activities, the hand positioning is so crucial because it is going to be so difficult for them to handwrite if they are holding the pencil up here, if they're holding the pencil like this, if they're, holding the pencil this way, right? So the hand positioning is crucial in this time. You want to take the time to show your child, and you're gonna have to be there to redirect them multiple times until they get the hang of it, until it just becomes automatic. When they pick up the pencil and they put it in the right way, you know they've got it. But until then, you're gonna be there to remind them that they are going to, here's a cool trick, you can tell them to grab 2 fingers, the thumb and the index, and these fingers are gonna go back. And they're going to take the pencil and they're going to flip it back. It's going to rest here between the thumb and the index, right? It's like, go to sleep, pencil, right? So this is the appropriate way that you want your child to hold the pencil. Now, when they go to work on a table, you want to make sure that their wrist and their arms are resting on the tables. So that way it's easier for them to start forming the shapes, and it's going to be difficult for them to do so if they have their hands up, their wrist up and their elbow up. They'll, especially starting off, your child might do some funny movements like that until they get the hang of it, but that's why you're going to be there to help remind them how to hold the pencil and to rest the wrist down on the table and the arm as well. The other hand is going to be there to support the paper. Meet your child where they're at in their fine motor skills when you were giving them the proper pencils and markers. For instance, if you have a child who's just starting off to handwrite, you want to give them a thick pencil to use to start off with. There's these wide pencils, and now these I'll list down in the resource link below so you can check them out. And so the difference you'll see here between a regular pencil and a thicker one, it is going to definitely be much easier for a child who's first learning to handwrite to use a thicker pencil because their fine motors are still sort of building that, and the handwriting is going to help with that. But at least it will be easier for them to grab the pencil and to use it rather than the thinner one. Their hands will get tired more quickly with the thin pencil. If you're going to use a marker, also try to use the thicker marker rather than the thin ones when first starting out in the handwriting activities. If you have a 4-year-old who's already using thin color pencils and markers, and then you know that they can handle it, then go right ahead and start with the thinner pencils. But if you know that your child sort of has like this wide grip and their hands are really loose and they don't really have a tight grasp yet with their fingers, try to stick to thicker pencils and markers when you are doing these handwriting activities. All right, so tip number 3 is to start off with what we call in Montessori preliminary handwriting exercises. What this means is children work on following along with different shapes and lines until they've gotten the hang of the hand and eye coordination and tracing the lines. Once they got the hang of that, then they'll later work on to the letter formation. Then they will be able to make the connection that when they make, let's say, the letter A, all it is just a circle around and up and down and a stick, right? So it's just putting that little circle and stick together. So that's what the preliminary exercises are for, to help prepare the child to start writing the letters. I'll provide a resource link below so that you can use as a tool to help your child learn to trace first. Tip number 4 is to try to focus on one letter at a time if possible. So you are going to give your child handwriting activities that probably are going to come from different workbooks and online resources, and that's cool, but try to see if you can find any activities that have one letter per page. And if not, then maybe it just only has a few letters per page. Now, if you end up getting things that have A through Z, that's okay, but try to maybe stick to doing you do that A through Z that one day, but then you go back to just sort of practicing just that one letter that you knew that they needed more help with. If your child is going to be practicing their name, be sure that you're showing them the lowercase letters go after that one capital letter in the beginning of their name. Try to avoid your child writing their entire name in capitalized letters. And tip number 5 is to keep it fun using sensorial materials. In Montessori, we use a sandbox that children use that they would trace a letter and then follow along with on a tray with sand, tracing the same letter on their own. So they will get a visual sense of their own, their hand formation, and they'll have the letter in front of them, and then they will go ahead and start tracing it on their own, and they'll see their work, and they're so excited and proud to see that, right? So using sensorial materials like sand are a lot of fun for children, and it's quite easy to put together. When your child is tracing on paper, try to have them use one color pencil or one color marker, so that way they can see, again, their hand formation, like their lines, a lot easier. Now, of course, practice in pencil, but we want to keep a balance with some sensorial experiences. So colors, using sand and paint in any way would be helpful and also fun for your child. So those are my 5 tips I wanted to share with you. I hope that they're helpful. Remember to have fun with your child during this process. Don't force it. And remember, there are some resources in this video below that you can check out to help you get started in encouraging handwriting at home. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you want to continue to get more insight from me, Reen Etienne, here at the Little Room to Grow, be sure to subscribe below. See you on the next one.